On April 20th, 2010, the Deepwater Horizon disaster changed the lives of millions living near the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the scientists who responded to the crisis. These are some of their stories, intimate portraits of research, innovation, discovery. Welcome. I'm Hal Weiner, co-creator of Dispatches from the Gulf, a series of documentaries, short videos, and podcasts. Today we hear from Thomas Dardar Jr., chief of the United Houma Nation, a tribe of about 17,000 members living along the coastal waters and bayous of Louisiana. Chief Thomas begins by sharing with us his tribe's struggle to preserve their ancestral way of life, especially after the oil spill forced a temporary closure of their fishing grounds, as well as a moratorium on oil production in the Gulf.
The impact of the oil really was twofold for our tribe, the United Houma Nation. One is that it happened right at the time that opening season was happening. Our shrimpers had their boat loaded down with ice, fuel, and ready to go out. But just as they were getting ready to go out, the oil spill happened and really closed the season. Then a few weeks later, the moratorium was put in place, so the guys that worked on the rigs were also impacted. That hurt our economy real big for a long time. There was a lot of anger, drinking, and a lot of family abuse because the husband or the spouse is not able to go out and earn a living, so a lot of tension builds up within the family. Not only was it the fishermen, but also you had the oil field worker that wasn't able to go out. They saying it's going to be worse than the Valdez oil spill in Alaska, so there's a lot of unknowns, and when there's a lot of unknown, people tend to worry a lot more. All of them are in this state of depression and wondering about how they're going to make it from check to check or week to week. A lot of these guys, they decided to give up the shrimping industry. Some of them even went back to carpentry, because a lot of our people are good with their hands. Instead of waiting on the fishing industry to rebound, not really knowing if the shrimping industry is going to be here. A lot of these guys, they're getting, to the age where they just don't want to deal with the fishing industry, so they let their vessels go. And when they do that, that creates a void in their life. When I was a young man, you'd see the bayous lined up with all these big schooners, big slabs. Now you don't see them. They're virtually gone. Everybody's got smaller boats where it's just a one-man, husband and wife operation where you don't have to pay a crew. So everything that you make on the boat goes to fuel, groceries, ice, and your supplies. Then the rest of it, you can live on. But that's not very lucrative income these days.
My day-long visit with Chief Thomas ended at the tribe's ancestral graveyard, located along a bayou not very far from the waters of the Gulf. I can still remember him slowly walking between the tombstones, pausing occasionally to clear the land of any weeds or debris. But what I really remember the most were his final thoughts. A poignant reminder of the unanticipated consequences of an environmental disaster.
People often ask why you just don't up and leave. Well, one of the reasons why we don't up and leave is because a lot of our elders are buried here. We have to tend to them and tend to their site and make sure that they have a peaceful rest here. So that's why we can't leave. We are attached to the land. The land is who we are. The land identifies us. We won't leave our dead behind.
Today, thousands of scientists, oceanographers, chemists, engineers, biologists are all working together to develop newer and better ways to understand and ease the impact of oil spills. To learn more about their work, visit our website at dispatchesfromthegulf.com. Funding for this podcast was provided by a grant from the Gulf of Mexico Research Initiative. And thanks for listening.